Hi, so I'm going to talk to you about litter and how you can get your children in your school involved in litter picking. So, the first thing that you need to think about is having the equipment, the correct equipment for litter picking. So, the first thing that always comes to everybody's mind, so I'll just grab it for you, is one of these, a litter picker. And what we did was we found a local group that were willing to lend us litter picks. So it's always good to see if there's any local litter picking groups local to your school who are happy to lend you some equipment. Or another idea is you can contact your local council because they might have litter picking equipment that they can lend to your school. Obviously, you can purchase litter picking equipment. We've had it before. We've had parents buy some litter picking equipment. You might have some spare budget for equipment, but it's really important that you buy the right stuff. This litter picker here that we've got is a Helping Hand Environmental one, and they have a website with loads of great equipment. These are the best kind that you could get. There are cheaper ones on the market, but I can guarantee that will break, and you need ones that are durable and long lasting because the kids will be using them. And these ones, they have a string on them, which you can see here, and that sometimes will come loose, but it's something that you can fix and you can tighten them if it starts to lose its power for picking things up. So these ones I think are the best ones. They're more long lasting, and as I have a litter picking group myself and do a lot of litter picking, I haven't found anything better than these. So these are the best ones to buy. And in addition to having those, the children also need to wear gloves, because it's about encouraging them to not use their hands. So if they have gloves as well, like these ones, these are washable ones that you can reuse again and again, so double environmentally friendly. It's better for them, and then obviously you'd get them to wash their hands afterwards as well. If you are going out litter picking outside of school, just like when we have school trips, the children will need to wear a high vis, but you'll probably have all those like we do already because of trips in various different sizes. So that's the basics for your equipment. You might also want to invest in a bag hoop, but that's not a necessary part of the kit. As long as you've got gloves, litter picker and high vis, then you're good to go in terms of equipment. So that's the first thing, getting the equipment in place. You might want to start out with just litter picking on your school grounds and getting the children to do that. So litter picking on the field or on the playground is a great way to get started. To do that, you'll probably just need a simple risk assessment, particularly with COVID-19 in mind. So I would talk to your site manager or SLT about how you can do that. And it's a good way to get started and to build up your confidence. You don't need parental permission for them to be litter picking on the school grounds. It's only if you go outside of the school grounds. So you're probably thinking it would be really great to do a litter pick around our local area, about our school. I would suggest that you do it around the school first of all, because it means that you can get it done at lunchtime, or take an hour out in the afternoon or something, depending on what your SOT are happy to do. I take my eco team out, and we try and do like maybe once a month, and we just go literally around the block where our school is. There's plenty of litter there and it keeps them busy. Obviously, to do this, like with any trip, you need a risk assessment in place. So you need to think about any hazards for the children, not just in terms of what they're picking up, but anything they might come across, like bushes, if there's water nearby, other people, dogs, anything to do with COVID-19 in terms of keeping safe distance. And then you've also got to think about the litter. So what I always say to my children is, don't pick up anything sharp, and don't pick up any dog poo, even if it's in bags, because that way you're making sure they keep safe. And I also tell mine not to pick up any face masks or discarded PPE. And if they often get upset about it. I have my own litter picker and I pick those bits up. So then I know that I've kept them safe from any potential hazards in that way, but we've kept the litter off the street. And what I do is I put the children in pairs. So one person in the pair will have a black sack and the other one will have a recycling sack, whatever the colour is. It's pink for Southend. And then that way we can make sure we're picking up and recycling as we go. So it's just a great lesson for them to learn what goes in the recycling and what doesn't. And then that way we can see how much we've collected in terms of recycling and non-recycling on our litter pick. Yeah, so main things to remember: equipment, risk assessment, and then if you're going outside of school, you would obviously need to get parental permission. And it's important that you talk to your SLT about how you can do this. I would recommend that you do litter picking in small groups where possible. So for me, I've just been doing it with my eco team. And then think about your ratio. So obviously 1 to 6 for key stage 1, 1 to 10 for key stage 2. And if you need any additional adults, if you're taking a whole class out, for example. But again, small groups are better just because of the equipment wise. And that's what I would recommend. And maybe start with a small group like your eco team or some children in your class, first of all, so that you get confident. And something that I found that was a bit of a barrier when I started litter picking was an initial thing of, oh no, they're going to pick up needles. Well, let me reassure you that as somebody who litter picks regularly in my local area, I have only found, I think, needles about 3 times, and they were well hidden within bushes, and it was quite easy to dispose of them. But just make sure you include that on your risk assessment. And if you do find something like that or anything else that could be potentially dangerous, that you let your council know and then where it is, and then they can remove it. Other than that, mostly what you're going to be finding is things like plastic bottles, drink cans, maybe tissues, and some PPE, and obviously dog poo bags. And it's just important you brief the children on what they should and shouldn't be picking up, and then you keep an eye on them. Just like with any trip, obviously road crossing and safety is another important part that you need to consider. But it's not as daunting as it initially seems, and the children absolutely love it. And I know that you'll have a lovely time litter picking. But what I'm going to include as well is an example of a risk assessment, so you can use that to help you. That refers just to litter picking kits. And obviously, hopefully that will help you with doing litter picking in school.